Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm coming to you today to bring you a review from me of Halloween Kills. This is my very first review on YouTube, and a bit back to front because I'll probably get round to reviewing some of the other Halloween films after I've let you hear my thoughts on this one. This is the brand new film from David Gordon Green, which was released in theatres and on Peacock streaming services in America 2 weeks ago. Released to a mix bag of reviews, some positive, some not so positive, a varied response from fans as well, which kind of inspired me to actually do this review today, because I know not everybody's happy with everything about this film. It is the middle chapter in a trilogy that's reinvented this long-running franchise. Originally, this would be film number 12 in the series, but of course, David Gordon Green, in his 2018 release, abandoned all of the sequels with the exception of the original film. So the original film, obviously, most people will be familiar with it. It's Halloween, 1978. Introduced Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, who's the main protagonist in many of these movies. Jamie Lee Curtis has returned. This will be her 6th of 7 appearances in the Halloween films. Michael Myers, the main kind of killer in the series, only ever not appearing in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which decided to take a different direction. That film actually gets a little bit of honour here. Thing about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is that it has gained credibility over the years. Originally, it came out and most people were just disappointed that it wasn't a Michael Myers sequel, but that has long since shifted to the side, and I think the internet age has brought about an appreciation for Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. So with all the other sequels, David Gordon Green is honouring that, without actually including it as canon. So anyway, Halloween Kills picks up at the end of 1978, where we see the capture of Michael that was referred to in the last film. Very cleverly shot, a real kind of hark back to that film. You know, many of the sequels didn't manage to get these details quite right. Michael Myers' mask, the house. At one point, I think Michael was living in a city beneath the Myers house. Another point, we were looking at a Gothic manor that wouldn't have been out of place in Hocus Pocus. And, you know, for some fans, these things aren't a big deal. For other fans, the attention to detail and the nitty-gritty, you know, it's something that really distracts them. So seeing the Michael Myers house almost identical to what we got in the original film, right down to the details like the break in the window or the Strode's realtor sign out at the front of the house, all of these details were phenomenal. Donald Pleasence, recreated with makeup on another actor's face, was just, you know, I was blown away by the attention to detail there and how they used the makeup and the shadows and the camera angles to, you know, make him so identical that some people might not even really be able to tell the difference. The only thing I would say about it was the voice was a bit iffy for me. You know, there's been better jobs done recreating Donald Pleasence's voice. If you listen to the monologue at the start of H20, you hear, although we know it's not Donald Pleasence and it's not an identical voice, it's also just removed enough that it doesn't sound like somebody's trying to emulate it. So sometimes that's better than trying too hard. And I felt like the voice just missed a beat on this film. But hey, you can't get everything right. So everything else, I would have said, was pretty phenomenal about that opening sequence. And this is where I think a lot of fans are divided from that point on, where we catch up with Laurie, kind of not present day, but 2018 present day. She's been whisked off to the hospital after being stabbed by Michael. She believes she's defeated her nemesis. Michael is burned to death in the basement of her fortress. You should have watched some of these films, Laurie. You would have known he's pretty hard to defeat, and burning them didn't work 40 years ago, so didn't work this time either. So here we have it. Manages to get out in an epic battle against the firefighters who are all discarded, and that really sets the tone for the film. That the body count is astronomical. And this is something I've seen people complain about, is that the lack of character development. But it's a film that's an hour and 50 minutes long. So how much character development can we really see in so many different characters? You know, there's not going to be screen time. You'd have to make it a 4-hour film to give all of them a decent backstory and make them sympathetic. The fact is, we're here for the kills. That's it's in the name. It's in the style of these films. That's what we're getting. We're there for the body count, and the body count racks up and up and up. What I also liked about this film was Jamie Lee Curtis's performance. Another thing that it's not really her performance, and I've not seen an attack really on her performance. Most people seem to have still enjoyed her. But there is a lot of criticism of what they do with Laurie in this film, but I got it completely. You can't, I don't see how they could have made 3 straight films with her constantly under attack and constantly fighting Michael. She's a 60-year-old woman. She's got to kind of regroup, if you like, and she gets to do that in this film. But what I liked about the performance and about the characterization of her, while she never meets Michael at any point in this film, is the rehumanizing her. I felt like in 2018 they'd almost moved her completely away from the Laurie Strode that we knew in all of the previous films, but particularly in the original, where there was that kind of shyness, you know, like very kind of dreamy, and you know, and obviously that's been stripped away from her by this trauma that she's lived with for 40 years. But we get to see a little bit of that dreaminess in this same version of Laurie. We get to see a little bit of the humour that we saw in the original, and it was just really nice to have that back. I thought Jamie Lee Curtis was not perfect. Got a couple of rubbish lines, do you know, that there's a few cringy lines in this film, and you know, I think everybody's touched on that as well. The evil dies tonight chant, get that out of there. You know, if you're putting it out in Blu-ray, now's your opportunity to cut out the crap. Change the chant up, you know, re-edit. I don't know, they probably won't do that. They'll probably release the film as is. But yeah, there was some cringy lines. But Jamie Lee Curtis's performance of Laurie, I just thought was really, really good. And it was really nice to see, you know, a merge of 2018's intense Laurie and 1978's kind of dreamy, fun, almost whimsical Laurie. So that was nice. I also liked the moments between her and Hopkins, who seems there's a little bit more to their relationship than we originally thought, because they did seem like there wasn't much between them in the 2018, you know, when Dr. Sartain talks about how he was the first responder, and, you know, Laurie doesn't really respond very much to it. I think, so that for me was a standout, but I also liked what they'd done with Karen and Alison in this film. Karen was a pain in the backside in Halloween 2018, even right up to that very last point where she's about to take Michael on, but she pretends that she's all totally pointless. I didn't get why she did that. Do you know, she could have just waited and said nothing. But seeing her grieving in this film, and seeing her getting on board, seeing her protecting, and everybody rushing to protect Laurie, I thought was fantastic. I thought it was just such a nice touch. With, again, rehumanising Laurie, it's all part of that. Giving her back her dignity a little bit after she's been painted as the Ralph of the Halloween series last time round. So I liked Karen here. I liked that she tried to protect Laurie. I liked that she tried to save Mr. Trivoli. And I like that she was a protective mother, but also went out there to really get on board with the rest of the town. I thought some of the other characters did well out of it as well. Cameron really came into himself in this film. I thought I enjoyed him much more than I did in Halloween 2018. I just thought the characterisation actually was better in this film, and I'm seeing a lot of criticism of it, and I get it, because what they did with the legacy characters actually was really the thing that let this film down. You know, Marion barely got a line, and then when she finally got anything decent to do, it was a retread of what she did in Halloween 1978. What Marion did in H20, albeit only a 10-minute cameo, was much stronger than what we get here for Marion. Nancy Stevens was a hoot to see. because she's never been a main big character in the series, but she does have a certain legendary status in the series. So to see her kind of discarded so awfully, I didn't like that. I also thought Lindsay Wallace, I thought Kyle Richards' performance was appalling. It wasn't even worthy of being called wooden. But, you know, good looking woman. Nice to see her back in terms of her relationship to the series. She got absolutely nothing to do with Laurie, which I thought was a real shame. I thought they could have really have thrown something in there when she gets taken to the hospital and things. But hopefully that will change in the next film. But I just hope that Kyle Richards' performance in the next film is a little less histrionical and than it was in this film. Tommy Doyle, I've got the same complaints as many other people for Tommy Doyle. I think you're already getting into the film knowing that many of the actors returning, including Sheriff Brackett as well, that's another character from the original film. All of them are being played by the same actor, and then of course you've got this main character who's a big thing, who's got quite a big part in the film, and he's not a legacy actor. He's he is a known figure from the 80s, so fair dues. There's some kind of nostalgic value, I'm sure. Not for me, I don't really know the actor, I've not seen his previous work. I thought his performance here was very over the top, but I think that was also in relation to some of the scripts, going back to some of the cringy lines, the evil dies tonight chant. I just think they could have done better by him, but also would the performance have been less wooden or less over the top? Who knows? I think he didn't do the best with what he had, unlike some of the other actors. So I didn't really like Tommy, as a legacy character or as an actor coming in, stepping in and replacing. And I'm not that hung up on actors replacing other actors. I thought Paul Rudd, I quite like Paul Rudd. I thought him doing Tommy Doyle on Halloween 6 was probably one of the best things about that film, even though the film itself gets a lot of snash. I thought Paul was good. I don't think that Anthony Michael Hall was really up to carrying this film, which was really what they expected of him. So I think that a lot of the middle of the film, I've heard people saying that it sags, but I think that's just the pitfalls of having a film right in the middle that you've not really got an end for. I don't know if they'd written a script for Halloween Ends when they wrote this script, so there's a certain amount of hoping that they can join the dots, getting from A to C in an authentic way, and having enough meat left in the bones that there's somewhere to go with it. So maybe there was a reluctance to put too much into this film in case they destroyed any kind of potential for another film. So I didn't have too much of an issue with this being a bridge film. I didn't have too much of an issue with the violence. I thought the kills were brutal enough that they were entertaining, if you like that kind of thing. The gore was up. I loved that Michael retained a bit of his playfulness, like staging the bodies, that type of thing. That was something that was missed in so many of these sequels that I never understood, because it's such a basic, fundamental addition to the original film. When he stages the bodies for Laurie to find, and places Annie's body out in front of the gravestone. That playfulness was there, and it was just gone from most of the sequels. And David Gordon Green has brought it back, more so in this film than the last. So I really enjoyed that about it. I thought some of the humour was funny. I thought some of the humour was appalling. I didn't mind that they unmasked them either, because you didn't really see it close enough to get any detail. It was no different, I thought, from when Tony Moran's face appeared on the screen in the original closing part of the film. I So yeah, I think this is a pretty solid sequel. I get that some people aren't happy with it. I can see why they're not happy with it. People went in having different expectations. At this point, I don't have any major expectations other than that they're better than some of the sequels we got. If I was ranking these films, I would put this one just at the lower part of my top 5. It's better certainly than most of the sequels from between 80s, the 80s and the Rob Zombie's films. But certainly, you know, they could never achieve the original film, no matter how they tried. Yet they'd give it a good go. That is the thing. You know, there's the writers are getting a lot of shtick. David Gordon Green's getting a lot of shtick. The actors are getting a lot of shtick about this film just now, and everybody's absolutely entitled to their opinion. But I think for me, this was an enjoyable, good standard of a sequel. I would probably give it 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it more than I did Halloween 2018. The moment in 2018 when Dr. Sartain, his motivations are revealed, was a major turn off for me. You know, it was like almost like saying, "Oh, come on, let's just throw another villain into the piece." In this film, this is Michael's film. Nobody else is orchestrating it. Nobody's pulling his strings. He is just out there to cause carnage, and that is what the Halloween films are about. So they've taken it back to basics to a certain degree in this film. They've given him back his playfulness. They've given him, you know, there was never anything to say from the original film that there shouldn't be some element of carnage. You know, everybody's talking about how simplistic things were back then. The only other comment I really have to make on this film is about the trauma aspect of it. I get Laurie's trauma because her 3 closest friends were murdered and she was almost murdered herself. Who knows how you would react in that situation. We're not expected to believe that this is all realistic. You know, no matter how much Jamie Lee Curtis or David Gordon Green bang the trauma drum and the Me Too drum, these films are about entertainment, and if they want to make a political point about mob justice or trauma or intergenerational trauma, fair enough. You can take it how you want to take it, enjoy it or don't enjoy it. What I didn't really get just as much though was the over-the-top trauma of Tommy and Lindsay and Marion. Do you know, Marion was a nurse going to a psychiatric unit. As someone who's married to a psychiatric nurse, that's not been the only time she's been under attack from a mental health patient. Do you know? And oh yeah, I mean, she knows about what happened afterwards, and I'm sure there's some element of trauma, but this expecting us to believe that they meet up every year for some kind of ritualistic celebration of the lives that were lost that night, and that Tommy and Lindsay are, you know, still have this extreme trauma from something that that they really only had a 30-second interaction with. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen. Do you know, I can't speak on behalf of people who are victims. It just didn't ring that true to me. So I think the writing and the acting and how they were discarded for the legacy characters in this film was probably, for me, the biggest letdown. But I'm going to award this film a 7 out of 10, just like I said. Rate's probably number 5 in my Halloween favourite films. I'm really looking forward to Halloween Ends. I'll probably have a few more viewings of the original and the 2 David Gordon Green films before that comes out. And why not? It's a thoroughly entertaining film if you just let down your guards, pretend you can't hear, hypnotise yourself so you can't hear the words "Evil Dies Tonight," and I think you'll have a thoroughly good ride on it. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed this first review. If I've chatted too much, put your comments down below, and then next time I probably won't yap as much. Alright, so look forward to hearing what you think, guys.